11.9 in the New Era Accounting textbook of grade 12. Let's see if we can find out what went wrong. G. Dockrat's account of 2687 was written off. If that happened correctly, it would have been bad debts and debtors control credited. But then he was traced and he then paid the amount. Now, this amount paid should now have been bank and bad debts recovered. However, the amount was wrongly recorded in the debtors control column of the CRJ. In the debtors control column, so debtors control account is affected and it was credited because it was from the CRJ. But it shouldn't have been there at all. So we now have to debit it. We don't take it out of the bank because the bank did receive the money, but we need to take it out of debtors control. So it goes via the GJ. The GJ has got sundry accounts, and the sundry accounts has got 1,200 in it according to the information. Now we're going to add the 2687 on the debit side of the debtors control amount because it now has to increase with this amount. It shouldn't have been there. The total of the sales column in the DJ was overstated. Just the sales column. So where is the sales in the DJ? It is on the debit side of the debtors control. That was overstated, so we need to deduct it. Now in the sales, we started with 45190 and it was overstated, so we need to take away 250. But the total of the debtors allowances column in the debtors allowances journal was understated. Now the DAJ is posted to the debtors control to the credit side, and this 80 Rand was understated. So we've got to add this to the DAJ in the debtors allowances. The DAJ started with 2228 and we've got to add the 80 because it was understated. M. Malinga returned goods to the value of 110, but the bookkeeper incorrectly treated this as a credit sale. So it was on the debit side. So this 110 should have decreased debtors control, but it increased debtors control. So debtors control needs to be decreased by 110 and to fix the error, and then again to do the actual transaction. But if the debtors control is decreased by that, it is actually on the credit side under sundry accounts via the general journal. So it is when you write it down, it will be plus 110 plus 110 in the sundry accounts. Malinga himself will decrease by 110 and again. The first one to fix the error, then nothing has happened, and then to record the actual error. Just make sure you understand this. It does decrease the debtors control if it increases the sundry accounts on the credit side. Listen to this again. Make sure it makes sense to you. Stock was sold on credit to A. Hendricks for 1681. So stock was sold on credit, so that must be debited 1681. But it was entered from the journal as 1861. 1681 and 1861. Let's just see what's the difference. 1861 and 1681. It's 180 Rand difference. Now that 180 Rand was sold to A. Hendricks, was entered correctly in the journal, but was posted to the account. So only A. Hendricks, not the debtors control. Only A. Hendricks must have, I just want to read again, stock was sold on Hendricks, this was entered correctly in the journal, but was posted to his account. Okay, so the wrong amount, it should be 1681, so we need to decrease his account by 180, and only his account, because the mistake is not in debtors control. A check, 779, which was received from G. Dwyer, had been dishonored, and a 5% discount had been allowed to him. So this 779, which we received, it was not enough money, and if we received a check, we will cancel this check in the CPJ. That means it's going to go to the debtors control under the bank CPJ. It's going to be added back there. So debtors control is going to increase under the bank group with 779. But the 5% discount needs to be calculated, and that is 779. I'm looking for the 5, and I have the 95. So it's a 41 Rand. That's going to be my discount allowed. And discount allowed of 41 Rand is going to decrease my, the discount allowed that's now from a dishonored check is going to increase my sundry accounts. So my sundry accounts is now going to be the 1,200 that we had originally, plus the 2,687, plus the 41 Rand. That's going to increase my debtors control because it is not allowed anymore. And then this is completely wrong in Dwyer's account and in the debtors control. So Dwyer himself will have, he had 14,069. Now we need to increase his account with both of these amounts because it was a dishonored check. Again, to really understand what's happening here, listen to the video over and over again till it makes sense. On the 1st of July, E. Ibenza submitted a check of 4,000. This check was dated 7 July. It was deposited on the 9th, but was not recorded. So this amount of 4,000 was not recorded. It was deposited, but it was not recorded. So what do I do with that 4,000? In the first place, the bank is a CRJ, is the credit side of your debtors control. So if the check was not recorded, I have to put it on the debtors control credit side, 4,000, and that's going to be added to the bank on the credit side. And then we have to also deduct it from E. Benza. He needs to be credited with 4,000, so deduct that. Once we've sorted all of that out, we can then put it in the correct places. Let me just show you. If you take your workbook, and you do this in your workbook, you will see what we have done here. Oopsie. Okay, so this is where we are. So we have the original details from the information given to us. Just show you again. Yes, the original details. Yes, the original details given to you, but the original amounts are in general be in brackets next to the details. However, we did it as separate calculations in the textbook, and that's where it is. So where we said we've got to add the 2,687 and the 41, this is where we did it, and then they just took those amounts and they write it in here. Now this looks very, very busy, and I move from the one page to the other page, but I like to put all the calculations in brackets, starting with your beginning amount and then adding and deducting as we go along. So that would be my debtors control. Have a quick look and see if you do it, if you get the same answers. And then our debtors list. Here's our debtors list, starting with their original amounts and whatever we did to all of them according to our establishing of the mistakes, and then our new balances, and then there is the list total 29,243, which is the same as the debtors control balance 29,243. Then we've reconciled the debtors control with the debtors list.